They say Batumi is the Las Vegas of the Black Sea. But is it really? Flashy casinos, futuristic skyscrapers, and a coastline that screams luxury, but behind the glitz, there's a side of Batumi most tourists never see. So is Batumi truly the next Vegas? Or is it just an illusion? Let's find out. Batumi is unlike any other city in Georgia. It's a place where old Soviet buildings stand next to ultra-modern resorts, where Georgian traditions meet a growing international influence, and where gambling is completely legal, something that draws thousands of visitors from nearby countries. But what's it really like? Today, I'm diving deep into Batumi's nightlife, culture, and hidden realities to see if it deserves its flashy nickname. Batumi's transformation. A city of contrasts, Batumi wasn't always this glamorous. It was once a quiet port town, best known for its Soviet-style apartment blocks and a few old markets. But over the past decade, it has rapidly transformed into a buzzing tourism hub. Walking through the city, you'll see sleek hotels, extravagant casinos, and luxury high-rises, but also crumbling Soviet-era buildings just a few streets away. One minute, you're on a palm tree-lined boulevard that could rival Miami. The next, you're in a narrow alley with rusted balconies, laundry hanging between buildings, and locals selling fresh bread from tiny street stalls. This mix of old and new is what makes Batumi fascinating. But let's get into what really gives it that Las Vegas reputation: the casinos. The casino culture. Why Batumi is a gambling hotspot. Unlike Georgia's capital, Tbilisi, where gambling restrictions are much tighter, Batumi is a free-for-all. It has become a haven for tourists, especially from Turkey, where gambling is completely banned. Just cross the border, and suddenly, you're in a city where neon lights invite you into a world of slot machines, poker tables, and high-rolling action. The casinos here aren't just for tourists, though. Many Georgians see them as an easy way to make or lose money, and some even make a living from gambling. But does Batumi really compare to Las Vegas? Well, let's break it down. Luxury hotels? Check. The Hilton, Sheraton, and Radisson Blu all have a presence here. High-stakes gambling? Check. You'll find blackjack, roulette, and poker tables just like in Vegas. Neon-lit streets packed with entertainment? Sort of. While Batumi does have some flashy lights, it's nowhere near as extravagant as the Vegas Strip. So, while Batumi has the gambling scene, it still lacks the all-out craziness of Las Vegas. But that doesn't mean the nightlife isn't worth checking out. Nightlife beyond the casinos. Is Batumi a party city? If you're not into gambling, there's still plenty to do when the sun goes down. The city's beach clubs and rooftop bars are packed in the summer, with DJs spinning until sunrise. Popular spots like Sector 26 at the Take 5 attract a mix of locals, tourists, and international party-goers. The vibe? Somewhere between the beach parties of Ibiza and the underground clubs of Berlin. And if you're into something more relaxed, the Old Town has some cozy wine bars and restaurants where you can sip Georgian wine, one of the country's best-kept secrets. But for all its nightlife, there's one major difference between Batumi and Vegas: the people who live here. The local side of Batumi, a different reality. Outside of the flashy tourist areas, Batumi tells a very different story. The average salary in Georgia is low, and many locals struggle to afford the lifestyle that tourists enjoy. Walk a few blocks away from the casinos, and you'll find neighborhoods where buildings are in poor condition, families share tiny apartments, and the glamour fades into everyday life. This contrast is what makes Batumi unique. It's not just a tourist playground. It's a city where history, culture, and rapid modernization collide. And speaking of history, let's talk about the one thing that truly sets Batumi apart: its deep cultural roots. Beyond the hype, Batumi's history and culture. Before Batumi became a tourism hotspot, it was an important trading port. The city has been influenced by the Ottoman Empire, Soviet Union, and modern Georgia, which explains its diverse architecture and cultural mix. Strolling through the Old Town, you'll find beautiful 19th century buildings, traditional Georgian bakeries, and hidden courtyards where life moves at a slower pace. There's also a strong Turkish influence here. Many of the restaurants serve Turkish cuisine, and parts of the city feel like an extension of Turkey itself. One thing you'll notice? Georgian hospitality. The people here are warm, welcoming, and proud of their culture. If you visit a local restaurant, don't be surprised if the owner sits down with you for a drink. That's just how Georgians are. So is Batumi the Las Vegas of the Black Sea? Batumi has the casinos, the luxury hotels, and a growing nightlife scene. But calling it the Las Vegas of the Black Sea might be a stretch. Unlike Vegas, Batumi still holds onto its local traditions, history, and slower pace of life outside the tourist zones. It's a city in transition, one foot in the past, one in the future. And that's what makes it worth visiting. So, what do you think? Is Batumi on its way to becoming the next big gambling capital, or is it something entirely different? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe for more travel adventures, and I'll see you in the next one.